Okay, you guys, going live tonight for the Thought Mastery class. Let me check my windows and my connections here, because last night when I used this software, it was doing things with Dawn last night. I was having technical difficulties. So, all right. So while we wait for a few minutes for folks to jump on, I'm going to go turn off my fan actually, so it's not blowing in the background. Should be all right, but okay. So if you guys are watching this after the fact, put in hashtag replay, and let me know even if you're watching it later, because I will keep this posted. It will not be, let me make this public. You can't always click and type and talk. Whoop. Mute that. It's helpful so that I know when people watch it later, or as you go through, still comment your questions even if you're not watching it in real time. That's helpful for me and appreciate it. Okay, I can see us in both places here. So we will get going. If you don't know me, my name is Sarah Silver. I'm a mystic intuitive, and I love fusing personal growth with spiritual magic. And tonight we're going to talk about 4 ways you can minimize the thoughts you don't want as part of your mindset mastery and increase your ability to receive, hear, and be more in tune to your intuitive guidance, your divine downloads, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to talk about 4 sources of thoughts, pros and cons of them, where they come from, what you can do with them, and how to tweak and optimize your mindset around how your brain works, how your mind works, how your thought systems work. And when your pings and your downloads and your divine guidance is trying to come through, how you can balance all of that, because it's a continuum. It's, don't we all wish that we could just, control alt delete our brain, or turn off this channel of thought and shut off this flow, or completely block or delete something going on in our mind over here, so that we only listened to or could hear what we want from our source or from our hearts. But there's no switches. We can't turn one on or off like we would wish. It's, everything is always on. Everything is always on, even when we're asleep. But our focus on each source, our focus on our mind or our thoughts or our feelings, and how they all work together, our focus can make one group really large. The volume can seem astronomical, while other channels of thought or like downloads we get can seem really super quiet, and so quiet that we think it's not there. But it's not true, just based on what we're looking at, what we're doing, etc. So I'm going to teach you a bunch of things I've been doing over the years on how to optimize this and help it work for you. So if you're watching, give me, oh, let me switch over to my comments here. Grace is here. Hello. Doing good, Grace. Paula's here. Perfect. Great. And I can see you both from Facebook and YouTube. So that's very helpful. Thank you, dears. I appreciate it. Love it. So let's get going. I was playing with this for a second before you guys hopped on. And if you guys can like, share, hearts, all the things, that helps more people see it. I appreciate it. I know it's a Saturday night and people, unlike you and me, are probably off gallivanting the world, but that's okay. We're here. We love it. And let me switch my screen. So I figured out how to turn on this little doohickey over here and merge it with my face. Can you guys see both screens? There's me, and I see right here ABCD. on like a whiteboard. Let me know if you guys can see that to make sure. I'll go back to my chat here. Hello, Alicia's here. Sunday afternoon for Grace. Grace and Sydney. How are you doing? Brilliant. Yes. Yes, you can see this. The ABCD, you see it. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. We have 4 sources of thoughts. 4. And we're going to go through them. ABCD. Just like the alphabet. We're going to make it really simple. Your first source of thought right here. Come on, clicker. I'm going to type in here. Come on. Oh, I'm in Canva. Your first source of thought is your adversary. Adversary. So what do we think of when we hear adversary? Your adversary is anything that is not from within you. It's all external negative, detrimental, shitty stuff. Your adversary could be your parents yelling at you when you're growing up. School friends and teachers saying harmful things to you. It could be negative entities, spirits, Satan, whatever you believe in, that whisper the shit in your ear, like the devil on your shoulder. Your adversary is social media that is negative, rude trolls online that say hurtful crap, anything external that does not lift you. That is a source of thought. That is a source of communication, and it's never helpful. It's never positive. We don't want it. Oh, crap. Nope. No. Canva. There we go. Love it. Okay, so let me tell you a story about adversarial thoughts so you can kind of get an idea of what that may mean. So I'm 38 now. And this was like, how long ago was this? This was probably 6 or 7 years ago. So I was like 31, 32, something like that. And I had the dumb idea to go clothes shopping. I wanted to buy myself an outfit. I had just like started working for myself, replaced my income, feeling great, and I wanted to buy myself a new outfit. And at the time I had 3 little boys. My first 3 boys are all 18 months apart, back to back to back. And they were like 4, 3, 2 at the time, ages 4, 3, 2. So I had the dumb idea, I'm going to go clothes shopping and I'll just take the kids with me. Well, you can imagine how it turned out. And I was in a store and I had some outfits I wanted to try on. And in the dressing room, yes, Alicia, evil people that you've met, they are your adversary. Thoughts coming in from them, ideas coming in from them. Yes, exactly. I was in the dressing room, and this was one of those stores where you don't have a door that shuts or latches. It's just a curtain that you slide open and shut. Oh, why? Just why? So what was happening is I had my 3 little kids, my 2 older ones, I had sat down and they were like watching a cartoon on my phone so I could change my clothes in front of the mirror. And of course, I have the room where the curtain is right where I'm standing to change, right by the mirror. Curtain was right there. And my youngest boy, 2.5, he was having hell of a time laughing and giggling. He would rip the curtain open and rip it shut. And I'm half naked. And then he'd rip it open and run off because I had no door to shut. I had to chase him down and bring him back. Anyway, finally got him settled. And so I was frustrated. I'm like, I just want to buy a shirt. I just want to try on an outfit. And so I finally was dressed, looking in front of the mirror, deciding if I liked this outfit I had on. And I had an adversary come in and tell me, I like distinctly heard in my mind some evil energy say, no, Sarah, you don't deserve that. Why are you trying to buy yourself something when you know this isn't a good idea? And I was like, oh, excuse me? So I started talking to that voice, whoever, whatever that was. And I said, no, I don't think so. I deserve this. This is what I'm doing. Thank you very much. And it shut up real fast. So that is an example of an adversarial thought that may not even come physically from another person. I don't know who it was that I heard that day, but that was an adversary that I recognized very well. Okay, so and I'm gonna as I go through these, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna talk about exactly what we can do with each of these sources. Okay, but right now it's kind of like story education time. Okay, your second source of thought, B, is your brain. Your brain. This is your programming, your hardwiring, your belief systems, your patterns, anything that you literally did not choose, because up until age 8 or 9 and your prefrontal cortex was finally formed enough for you to like have conscious awareness of your own thoughts and things, everything that your brain soaked up until that age that wasn't your fault, that your brain always is serving up, that is a source of thought. Every single time you're trying to think or figure something out, it is the one always trying to answer the question or solve the problem or run you down the thought trail, run you down the memory lane. All the stuff that always comes flooding in when you're emotional or and most of the time, the thoughts from your brain, are they positive or are they negative? Most of the time, they're negative. Most of the time, they're negative because it's so much easier for our brain to pick a low vibrational situation to serve up to us, as a low vibe thought to serve up to keep us safe, right? Because that's what it's wired to do. That's what it's created for. And so most of the time, everything from our brain is negative too. And so before any of us even knew this, let me tell you a story about how you can recognize this kind of a thought. So I was in a very sacred religious place. I don't know, this was 10, 12 years ago in a religious faith that I grew up in, that I was very active in at the time. And I was reading scriptures. I was sitting there waiting for, I just had a moment to myself because I was waiting to go and do something. And I'm reading my scriptures here. I don't remember what happened that day. I don't remember what was going on, but I had something heavy on my mind that I'd come to this place to receive guidance, to get some help, kind of like a big extended prayer. And I'm reading scriptures and looking for answers and trying to humble myself. And I read a scripture about how guidance only comes to people. I couldn't tell you what scripture it was, but it was something about how the ones that receive love, joy, and blessings are the ones that are the most righteous, or that always make the best decisions, or are God's chosen ones that are always righteous. And I had and I suddenly had thoughts about myself in this moment that were full of shame. Like, I guess I'm just not good enough then, because here I am and I don't feel these joys like I've been taught in my scriptures. And I had all these repetitive thoughts of like, hey, you just haven't worked hard enough. You haven't done this well enough. You haven't prayed enough. You haven't developed your testimony enough, whatever. All these shame-filled thoughts. And this is not a religious discussion. This is just my story. But the basis was, I recognized in that moment, holy crap, If I'm doing something I believe that is good in this moment, but all I am hearing is you should feel ashamed about yourself, thoughts, I knew it was programming that I had been raised with. I suddenly had an awareness of, oh my word, I didn't intend, like, I have been hearing these kinds of thoughts my whole lifetime. This is programming. This is an ingrained thought process that I suddenly realized I had. Big things changed after that. So that is an example of thoughts that come from your brain programming. Yes. And if again, this isn't a religious discussion, if you have a wonderful experience with your faith, with your church, with your religion, you do you. In that moment though, for me, it was a wake-up moment, and I'm glad I had it. But that was simply my experience. Okay. C, where are we? Let me come out. I'm switching back and forth from my notes to the screen you see. Okay. Our third source of thought, C, is our, hang on, our conscious self. Our conscious self. So this is when we, in real time, choose our thoughts, choose what to think about, what we choose to focus on, how we direct our mind. If you want, I want to think about a memory. Remember that time when we, did whatever as kids, and you start thinking about it. That is conscious self. When you stand in front of the mirror and you choose to find all the positive things about you that you see, that is your conscious self. When you direct your mind away from whatever your brain or the adversary is serving up, and you pivot back to a place of, no, I'm going to think about all these amazing things. I am powerful. I am creative. I'm strong. I am wonderful. I'm a magnificent human being. And I did this today. I created this memory today, etc. That is your conscious self that you are literally inputting in real time. Your brain isn't serving something up. You're not listening to someone else. You're choosing those thoughts. Now, our conscious thoughts, are they always positive? Are they always negative? Usually, if you haven't done some work in this area, usually they're negative, right? Or at least they're half and half. Music creates conscious self-awareness. Exactly. Yes, it does. That's wonderful, Alicia. Thank you for saying so. This is an area that we have ultimate control over. Absolutely, because we are choosing it. But it's not always positive. It's not always negative. So let me tell you a story about this. I've gone to the gym almost my entire life, but I have had times of ebb and flow where I'm very active or I'm really not. And there's pregnancies in there and times when I was super fit and doing amazing because I wasn't pregnant. And other times when I'm like postpartum and just trying to get back on the wagon of fitness. Anyway, it's been a journey. But I remember one time I was active at the gym. My last baby, my third baby, it had been a few years since I'd had him, but I wasn't really caring about what I was eating. Like, I ate whatever I wanted. And I was eating a ton of carbs. And I was at the gym one day and I was like, I always go to classes where they have the mirrors because I will do more if I'm in a group setting. And we were doing like some move where we're like lifting the weights up above our head and turning funny. And there was a moment when I realized, holy crap, my belly, my lovely little mama roll had like fallen out and gone over the lip of my pants, and my tank top had come up a little bit because I'd gained some fluff. I was fluffy and I'd never noticed it before. And I had a moment where I'm like, oh my word, my clothes look too small. And I noticed that and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm doing so bad. I am not doing good at this. And I was giving myself these conscious thoughts of something's wrong. I was cutting my body down just a little bit because I'm like, you've been postpartum for 2-3 years. Like, why do you have this little roll? And it was nothing. It was nothing. But I had a moment where I was like, oh my word, I'm cutting myself down. I was serving myself thoughts and judging myself in real time. And I changed that. Oh my word. Now I still have a fluffy belly because now I've had 4 children. And you know what? I earned those stripes. So I'll talk to you a little bit about how we can change our conscious thought patterns and choices too. Yes, we're just self-critical and it needs to stop, Grace. Okay. Number D. Oh, have you guys heard that? Oh, I can't remember. It's like some joke, comedic audio making fun of Sesame Street. And where this is total tangent, unplanned. It's an audio of, on Sesame Street when they're like, oh, the word of the day is whatever, the letter of the day, the number of the day, whatever. And it's this audio of like Big Bird and Elmo, and they're a little drunk or stoned or something. And so they say the word of the day is ball. Or no, the number of the day is ball and the letter of the day is green or something like that. It's so funny. That totally just random. When I said the word, what did I say? Number 4 is D. Step number 4 is D. Anyway, sorry. Random. Let me have some water. Ugh. Okay. 4th source of thought. What did I say? Did I say number D? Number D. Oh my word. Letter D is divinity. So this is your sources of thoughts that come from your higher self, God, source, your heart, your inner self, like whatever you consider your source of inspiration, your source of guidance, your source of highest light, anything, guardian angels, past loved ones, whatever. That is divinity. That is your 4th source of thought. Hello, Kevin Davies. How are you? Okay. Now, is your source from divinity, is it always positive or negative or a mixture? What is it? It is always for your good. It is always, almost always positive. Sometimes it can feel neutral. Sometimes it can feel like a mild scolding, but it is always for your highest good. Grace, there's one of Beaker, and it says trying to understand the behavior of some people is like trying to smell the color night. Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about. Perfect. Thank you. Everything from your divine sources of thought is for your good. Positive, neutral, or positive. You may have little moments of a little bit of scolding, but it is all love-based. This is where your ideas come from, even if you don't even realize there is a higher source of power. This is where ideas come from. This is where in your intuitive hits, pings, downloads, personal revelation, you may call it, is all from the source of divinity. And if you don't know what this feels like a little bit, let me tell you a story with this. So when I was married, we decided to finish college before we had kids. So we had been married for, I don't know, 6-7 years already. So we could finish school. We didn't want to have kids till we were done with school. Thank heaven. Well, we graduated, done with life, and we're like, what do we do now? Should we move? Should I look for work here? Like, the world was wide open and we didn't know exactly what to do. And so we took it to God and we pondered and we were looking for guidance in this area. And I had a moment where I was centered, meditative, pondering on this question, and I had this was probably like the biggest lightning bolt kind of moment of divine thoughts entering me that kind of really pivoted and changed the direction of my life, because all of a sudden it was like, bam, I felt this pouring into my mind and body. And I like immediately looked up because I could feel it from above. And the thought was, it's time to have kids. It's time to have a family. It is time to have children. And I wasn't even on the boat for, okay, I want to have kids now. I was never the type to want to get married and pop them out. I was scared to death to have children. I wanted to delay it as long as possible. I wasn't even like secretly hoping that our guidance for our family was to start having kids. Like I wasn't even hoping for it. I was just like, okay, it's on the table. But in that moment, I had just this divine download where I knew, okay, this is the next step. And it didn't, and your divine thoughts, your downloads from the divine do not always feel like thoughts. They feel a little bit different because you're not necessarily thinking or hearing or speaking these thoughts. These are more like a feeling within your body that you'll come to learn, and I'll teach you some things to do in order to tweak that a little bit. Okay, so those are the 4 sources of our thoughts. And let me say this too. I found out there's this little like marker here. Let me draw a doohickey. So these 3 right here, kind of like half of our conscious self, because sometimes our conscious self serves up positive thoughts. All of these top 2 for sure, almost always our brain, always our adversary, and a lot of the time our conscious self is all negative, trying to keep us safe, trying to keep us from not growing. This is our ego. These areas is our ego. Anything from the divine is not our ego. So can you see how there's work to do? We have what, 75, 80,000 thoughts a day. And can you imagine, just for the simplicity of math, that 3/4 of those thoughts, 60,000 thoughts a day, are negative, and only this little portion is positive? If we can hear it, we can change this. What if we flip this on its head? What if we pivot that to say, look, I want to turn up the volume, increase my focus on my divine thoughts so that it drowns out all of this other stuff as much as I can. And imagine if 3/4 of your thoughts were from divinity for your good, all positive. Can you imagine how things would change in here? A lot, right? What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know. Yes, intuition. Things coming from your divine source of thoughts. Yes, that's your intuition, Alicia. Great. Perfect. It's exhausting to have negative talk. Absolutely. So let me teach you a couple things to turn down the volume on that, or decrease the flow of the exhaustive stuff, right? Because you're human. You get tired. Let's bring in, yeah, you're right. Half these thoughts like are from our adversary or our brain, exhaust us, drain us. It's like an energy vampire right in our own self. Oh. But then thoughts from the divine, empowering thoughts from ourselves, those are energizing, right? Lifting, connecting ABC to ego. Just clicked. Perfect. I love that, Paula. Great. Let me look back at my notes here. All right. So how do we change this? How do we make progress? Because we can't turn these off. We can't shut them down. All of these adversarial and these negative sources, they don't go away probably until we're dead. I don't know. I haven't died. But that's my guess. So let's go through some things that will help us decrease these top 3 that don't serve us, that don't help us, or master them in a way that does help us while increasing what we do want. Okay, so let's go back to A, our adversary. Did you notice what I did in my story when I was standing in front of the mirror and I had those adversarial thoughts, whoever it was trying to talk me down? Did you notice what I did in that story? The moment you have adversarial thoughts and you recognize them, you're aware of them, I want you to pause and step aside and recognize those aren't yours. They did not come from you. They are not you. Step aside from that and then direct those thoughts in a new direction, or putting them in their place. So you're pausing once you are aware that they're not your thoughts. You're stepping aside to gather your moment, and then you are directing them where to go. When I was in front of the mirror, and as soon as I realized those thoughts weren't mine, I said, no, thank you. This is what I'm going to do instead. No, thank you. I am going to enjoy this moment because I am choosing to think this about myself. You can leave. You can go. Oh, no worries. Go bother someone else. I don't accept that. That's not mine. And if you don't hang on to it and you don't receive it and you don't continually perpetuate it, it cannot become a part of you. Shut it down. Yes, Grace, exactly. Looking for evidence to support the positive because you see that the negative absolutely isn't supporting you. Right, Paula? Love it. That is how you, let me look at my note here. Pause, step aside, no thank you. So what are we going to do now when we have an adversarial thought? We're going to pause, separate yourself from it, and say no thank you, shut it down, send it on its way. There's a great little video on TikTok. Well, it's an audio. It's an audio that lots of people put on their videos. And it's a mom and a daughter talking. I can find it and post it later. But it's like a mom teaching her little girl that's probably like 3 or 4. And she's talking to her daughter and she says, what do we do when we have bad thoughts? And the little girl is like, we say no thank you and go on your way. Please leave now. It's like this sweet little video. This little girl, like this mom just teaching her girl. I'm like, yes, that is what we do. No thank you. Please leave now. Okay, so that is what you are going to start doing with those thoughts, okay? Any questions about that? Oh, Alicia, you just tell any negative thought to get out of your head. I tell it that it's not welcome here and I'm full of light. Great, perfect. Exactly. Same thing. Love it. All right, so what do we do with our brain? The brain is trickier, right? Because you've lived a lifetime. You first of all lived 8 years of programming that you had no awareness or choice about. And then you lived probably another 25, 30 years before you became even aware that you can change the programming in your brain, right? And so you've had most of your lifetime, half a lifetime, who knows, depending on how old you are, of programming, hardwired stuff. Oh, that's my son texting me good night. Hold on just a second. Water break. Hang on. Oh, I can't type. and heart. Okay, thank you. You can rewire your brain. It is what's the word? Neuroplasticity. It's always changing, always growing. You can always adjust it. I feel like even though no matter how much work we do, the original programming that we grew up with is always going to exist, and you can't 100% delete it, but you can drastically turn it off, even though it still exists. So how do we do this with our brain? Well, the easiest thing that I've discovered in order to heal your mindset and start programming the stuff that you want, and this goes above and beyond affirmations, is what you've got to do is you have to repeatedly teach it when it, did I spell brain right? Oh my word. Is it IA or AI? I'm having a brain fart. You guys, Brian, no, brain, okay? Oh my gosh. Sorry, guys. This is what you can do to reprogram your brain the easiest way possible while you are asleep. Because when you are asleep, the conscious brain is turned off and all that is going on is your subconscious, and you're able to get down into that deep programming easier because you are asleep. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to take your phone and you're going to make a voice note, a voice recording audio, and you're going to speak to yourself every positive belief that you want to install, every positive affirmation or vibe that you tell yourself, every single uplifting thing that you want programmed in your brain. You could even incorporate your goals that you're working on, the new mindset, anything that you want installed as part of your mindset. You're going to make an audio recording, and it can be long. It could last an hour, or you can make a bunch of little tracks about different things. I have one for around money. I have one around my manifesting and goals I want to create. I have one about like self-love. I have one about the relationships I want in my life, etc. Speak it all. You have to speak it. And you've got to speak it in a way that is uplifting and positive and bright and happy. If you're going to make a recording, I'm so amazing. I'm a happy person and I do things, everything I want comes to me, because you don't believe it yet, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're not going to believe yourself if you're speaking crappy. You got to be up. You got to be vibrant. Walk around while you record it. Be standing. Do it after you've hyped yourself up with some positive music or whatever you need to do to speak it to yourself positively, because you're going to be listening to this recording while you sleep. So take all of these audio tracks and you're going to make a playlist. I call mine sleep affirmations. You're going to make a playlist on an app, whatever, on your phone. And when you go to sleep at night, you can turn the volume all the way down to like the lowest setting. I turn mine way down. You can play it. You can record it or play it with meditative music or sleep music or binaural beat music, however you want, or even some white noise with it. Even if it's really quiet, your brain is still going to hear it. You turn it way down and you listen to it on repeat while you sleep, over and over and over again. So if you want to, now, because I sleep alone, I just have mine playing right there, super quiet. I've done it with corded headphones, and I just have it in one ear while I'm sleeping, the ear that's not pressed on my pillow. I've done it with Bluetooth, more the flat Bluetooth earbuds that go into your ear, not the ones that sit on top. But I don't like that anymore because they fall out. Now I just play it quietly to the room. Obviously, like if you have someone in bed with you and they don't want to listen to that, try a few things to figure it out. I've tried those. It's like a headband, Bluetooth, for sleep, so that you can listen to things while you sleep, and the speakers in the headband are really flat. So I could lay even on, while I was wearing it, even laying on a pillow, like it didn't push hard. It didn't hurt my head, but I just don't like headbands. So that didn't last long for me, but you could try it. Those things exist. And when you do this every single night, your brain is just soaking all of that up constantly. And there's no conscious, you're not awake to block it. Because all it's going to be because there's nothing in the way because you're asleep. And I've done this for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. And I've gone back and I've read, because I would write everything out before I would speak it and record it. And I've gone back like a year later and read what I wrote and realized, holy cow, that's a belief I didn't have back then, because that's like standard for me now. And I was surprised because I'm like, oh yeah, duh, that's me. But at the time when I wrote it down to record it, I didn't have it yet. And so I went back and I looked and I saw proof of, holy shit, I have installed this, because this isn't even a question for me anymore. It's automatic. And as you do this to help train your brain to serve up thoughts positively this way, it has more positive files of beliefs or affirmations that it has been hearing while you sleep, more options to serve up to you when you're in the moment awake. And you can go back and re-record whatever, update what you're listening to every 6 months or something. I did it at least once a year, because you can, obviously, when things are installed, like, you don't have to keep hearing it all the time to still believe it, because you've got it, right? You're going to have new beliefs or new things that you want to install in your brain to help you with as time goes on. So change it up. Do it again. You're going to download to be taller. You know what, Paula? Do it. Do it. And I'll bet you in 6 months, you're half an inch taller. Like, literally. I love that. Let's see. Yeah, it's like journaling, Alicia, but it's just verbal. Osmosis. Hi, Amanda. How are you? I'm glad you're here too. Love it. Okay, so that's how we help this source, your brain. Okay, so what do we do with our conscious thoughts? You know what to do with your conscious thoughts. You have to make the choice to speak the positive things to yourself, to think the positive things to yourself, and make it a repetitive thing. One thing that I do, this is what you need to do, is, yes, for me, is I put notes on my mirror, or I take a dry erase marker and I write the word on my mirror, or the statement that I need to work on because I'm slacking in some way, or that I want to say more to myself. For example, one thing I wrote on my mirror for a long time, and it comes back up and I add it often, is the word change. I wrote the word change because I'd heard a meditation. There's a meditation that Joe Dispenza has that goes along with his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, where he helped in the meditation. It's all about like releasing something you want to change and installing something that's positive. And then in that meditation, he teaches, when you're in the moment, and you're consciously aware that you are going along with an adversarial shitty thought, or you're starting to listen to your brain too much, serve up negative spiral downward programming, in that meditation, he's like, when you're in that moment, consciously choose to change and say the word change to yourself. Literally say it out loud. He's like, say it wherever you are. If you guys haven't heard that meditation or read that book, I highly recommend it. Everyone needs to read it. So I wrote change on my mirror. I even put it like, I'll put things I want to consciously install on my phone, my wallpaper, like literally in words. Put sticky notes on the dash of your car or on your computer desktop, on your mirror, on your fridge, whatever you need to do. Journaling in a morning routine is part of this too. Do whatever you need to do so it's easier for you to choose a conscious thought that supports you. And it could be something like mine that was just one word, change. It doesn't have to be, don't make it a huge leap. Because if say we're on like, this is neutral, and we're having a day where we're just down, negative, feeling crappy, but we want to be up here, right? Don't have a conscious thought choice reminder that's clear up here, like I am eternally blissful, and like something that's a really huge leap from where you often are that you're trying to shift. Make something that's like one step higher or two steps higher on this scale. Like say you're below neutral lately on a regular basis and like, oh, life is okay, but I hope it gets better. Put something in your conscious thought ritual that's just above it. Like, I'm doing better today than I was yesterday. Or I am always going to find something good in this moment. Or whatever. But make it something that's attainable, because you can't climb a mountain in one step, right? Make it easier for yourself to make that choice, to repeatedly say it. In Mel Robbins' book, you don't even need to read the book. Just Google Mel Robbins high five habit. Just standing in front of the mirror, high-fiving yourself in the mirror is consciously choosing a positive thought. Hey, you're doing good today. You look sexy, babe. And high-fiving yourself in the mirror. Like, it's those things. That is how you change your conscious thoughts, is by a choice that you make as easy as possible for yourself. It's like getting comfortable with saying no when you are a people pleaser. Paula, gratitude. Yeah, even gratitude. Gratitude is a conscious thought that will always raise our vibe, that will always increase the vibration of our thoughts, that will always be positive. Love that, Paula. Thank you. Gratitude. Any questions about that? I'm not even in my air energy, guys. I'm in my fire right now. But words are flowing good. Okay. Let me check my notes. All right. So that's how we deal with our ego, right? That's the consistent work we have to do. That's not always fun, but it can be lasting. It's also a daily journey. It's consistent. It's never one and done. You can't just, I will say, like with your brain, after you've installed thoughts that you want by listening to it so much, those get a hell of a lot easier. But the daily conscious choice and the daily saying no thank you to the adversary it's a practice. That is how we close down those sources, make them a little quieter, so they get out of the way some, but they're always going to be there, right? Okay, our divinity, our divine thought sources. What do we do to increase the volume on these thoughts? Well, naturally turning down and taking focus away from the negative ones opens up the space and the opportunity automatically for you to be able to hear divine thoughts. But let's dig a little bit deeper into this because this might be different for everyone. And most of the time, people are going to say, oh, the way you receive divine guidance and increase your intuition is you just need to meditate. That's what is often said. Oh, you just need to meditate. That's how you quiet your mind and open up to receiving. Yes, that is very true, and I highly recommend it. But meditation is different for everybody. Everyone's experience in there is different. Everyone's at a different level. Everyone's at a different calibration with your energy and teaching your mind and body to actually meditate and how experienced you are. Like everyone's on this really different kind of spectrum with meditation. So whatever your practice is, keep doing it. But I'm going to give you something here to add to it to increase this source of thoughts with your meditation. Okay. After you've already gone through the bulk of your meditation, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour, whatever it is, you've already gone through almost all of it that you intended to. So you've already been in a space where your mind is quiet, things are slowed down, turned off as much as they can be, and you're already in a state of neutrality, in the void, in that's receptive and open. It's so much easier to do this after you've done your meditation, but before you've opened your eyes and moved on with your day. When you're in that state, you're going to ask your source, your higher power, whoever it is, you're simply going to ask, what do I need to know today? What is going to help me the most right now? You're going to ask whatever question that is open, humble, general, it's not specific, and you're not tied to the outcome of the answer. You're not desperate about receiving an insight about your question. It needs to be general, open-ended, so that spirit, source, your highest self, whomever, your intuition can bring up what you're most needing to know in that moment, but you are not judging it, you're not attached to it because it's wide open. And you're going to listen with your body. You're not listening with your ears. You're not listening with your thoughts. You're not listening with your brain or your mind. You are listening with your body in what you will feel. Because how your body is going to interpret that thought or that guidance that comes is different than all of these other channels. It is felt more than heard or thought. It is felt somewhere in our heart space, in our gut, in our sacral, depending on how you're designed. And I can't get into all that tonight, but it is felt first very quickly within a couple of seconds. And then your brain or mind is going to translate it or interpret it into words. And then try to go down the path of, well, I don't know, you actually didn't hear that. It's always that first little thing that comes to you within the first few seconds. After that, if it's gone 4, 5, 6, 7 seconds, your brain has caught up to your question, or your adversary sitting there also trying to figure out what to tell you. And then it will start the spiral. Then it will start serving up, no, it's actually this you thought of. Well, actually, you can't do that because of this. There's this tiny window that is your divine intuition giving you the guidance to your unbiased question. Now, Grace, you've been working on recognizing it more and more. Yes, it is a practice to recognize. Just like a practice of meditating and a practice of speaking positive, conscious thoughts to yourself. This is a practice. And the number one question I get about this is, okay, Sarah, I asked my question, but I didn't feel anything. I don't feel like I received any guidance. It was just calm, blank, nothing, peaceful, but I don't feel like I received anything. And then my mind started going. That is okay. That is okay, because that is still guidance. And I will tell you why. Because you are training your body, your heart, your mind, your soul on how to recognize peaceful times versus turbulent times with your guidance. You are learning how to recognize the space where things are received easily. You also may be in a moment where you actually don't need to know something in addition to what you already know. So take even an empty moment of where you feel like no intuitive guidance came, take it as, okay then, I am okay. I'm already in flow. I don't need to worry about doing something new today. It's okay. I may not be ready for the next thing. That's okay. I still did my intentional practice. And I promise, even when it's quiet or calm or nothing seemed to come, you are still receiving, because this is a practice. Always do this at the end of your meditation. Start adding this into your quiet moment, your peaceful environment, your ritual, however, to increase your ability to connect this way, no matter what your practice is already. Add this in, and you will start learning what the difference feels like between divine thoughts and all of the others. Any questions? Polly, you have ADHD. Meditation is difficult for you because you got squirrel brain. And a guided meditation focuses, yes, do a guided one. That's great. I've had many guided meditations that I love. Joe Dispenza, as I mentioned earlier, is good. They don't have to be fully just music wide open. Like now, I just have music that I use, and I guide myself through my own thing, my own practice that I have, that I love, even though I just do it for myself because I don't need someone telling me how. Do whatever works for you, but I would recommend, even in the guided meditation, if you can find one or tack on an audio at the end of it that's empty, or find one that gives you space where you're not hearing anyone speak. It's giving you space and time to just flow where you want to flow. Ask your questions, tune in to receive, because that is very, very helpful. I call it like you're in the void, you're in the quantum space. You're just in the energetic neutrality, because there's nothing being said, there's nothing spoken, and it gets you into a state of reception. Perfect. Any questions about any of this? So these are the ABCDs of all your 4 sources of thought. Has this been helpful for you guys tonight? Helping you recognize the differences between all of these and how you can minimize what you don't want and increase what you do want. Has this been helpful? Let me just check. I do have one more thing for you guys tonight, so please stay. Love it. Okay, Wonderful. Thanks. Okay. Now, this is an area of life where it's all very mindset based, right? It's very mental health, mental awareness, and like it's all one area of energy that you focus on. Paula, yeah, just to get you to the spot of that, then I can go there to see where my thoughts. Yeah, exactly. Great. Perfect. This, even though we're talking about sources of thought and learning how to master this is fantastic. There's so many people that don't do this. But let me show you how it's actually just a small area of how you can grow, how you can master thoughts, how you can master your energies of life. So let me show you a bigger picture. There's so many different energies of life that you can master in order to flow better into a state of being that you enjoy and that supports you. There are other energies in our life, like the elemental energies of earth, air, wind, earth, air, water, and fire, that affect how we feel, that affect how we think. We can learn how to master those and flow inside of those. I taught a class on this last week that you guys can watch that is totally free for you to learn about as well. We have the energies around how our body and soul is literally designed and the genetic encoding that we were born with that affects our personality of how we think and how our brain processes and how it translates into feeling and our belief systems. If you guys don't know what human design or Gene Keys is, don't worry. It's just the building blocks of our personality and our purpose here in life. It's a fascinating area to think about. But then we also have energies around the earth and the moon and the cosmos and all of those factors that can affect how we're feeling and thinking, whether we realize it or not. There's so much stuff going on right now. There's like 4 retrogrades, and if you're not into that, don't worry, no big deal. But I have found in my life that these things, even grounding out in the earth and putting my feet in the grass and talking to a tree, it is real. The energies. So when we learn how to master working in these kinds of energies, we're able to better connect to our divinity as well. We have gifts and natural skills and abilities that are energies that we love to share, or energies that we like to cultivate and bring out our creativity. And that affects how we think about ourselves. That affects how we feel about ourselves. And we can learn how to master those things. Your spiritual gifts or your emotional and mental gifts that you have, or abilities that you share with other people. We have our life circumstances that certainly affect how we think and feel, right? And learning how to manage those things is part of the picture too. Oh, where am I going? Oh, I'm trying to oh, this is the slider I want. Okay, perfect. Then we have other energies like our goals, our dreams, the things we want to create and aspire in our life, what motivates us, what inspires us. How can we master those energies? How can we use our sources of thought to work with those? How can we use our divine guidance in order to further grow our dreams and stay motivated? These things all work together and play a part. We have our relationships, we have our mentors, we have the people that we learn from and we teach, or that we go to for advice. Those energetic relationships affect our thoughts, affect how we feel, right? How can we master that? We have our beliefs and programming. We've talked a lot about that tonight with our sources of thought and what we can do to change our beliefs and to change our programming. So this class tonight has really focused on this, right? And I've already given you lots of tools on what you can do to start changing this tonight and while you sleep, nonetheless. This is huge. And all of this plays a part in their energies of life. And then we also have our inspired guidance, our divine downloads, and opening up this door and focusing on this energy. We've talked about this tonight too. This whole picture here, these 9 areas, I feel are the primary themes in the primary energies in our life that create our experience. And learning how to master all of these areas is key to creating the experience that we want, the state of being, the state of existence that we desire. I do not believe, after years of trial and error, that one coach's system or one book or one money-making method or one line of therapy is the have-all be-all solution for everybody in every circumstance. I don't believe that is true, because we have so many areas and so many variables and unique circumstances within our existence that play a part, that play a role. And we may be focused on one or the other. Like you're going to hear, I hear so much, oh, you have to have a mentor. You're only going to be successful if you have a mentor. Sure, that is a part of it. But what if you have a relationship that is an energy vampire that is hurting you more than helping you? It may not matter how much of a mentor, amazing mentor you have, if you don't have a supportive relationship, right? Or can you see how all of these things can conflict if we don't teach ourselves how to master all of these energies to help them work together? When I realized one day, I'm like, there has to be a way. There has to be a system or a simple process that everyone can do, irregardless of what energy they're in, or irregardless of their personality or where the moon is this month. There has to be a way to come back into a more positive state of flow, a better state of being for everyone at any given time. And I figured something out, and that's what I created Flow Tribe for. Inside of Flow Tribe, I teach a simple, you guys can't even see that. Let me slide it over. What if I do this? That better? I created Flow Tribe because I'm like, there has to be a way for us to be able to learn about ourselves in all of these areas and employ simple things to help us get back into flow so that our life is so much more enjoyable. So I want to tell you about Flow Tribe tonight, because inside I teach a simple 3-step process that anyone can do at any given time. Inside of any of these energies, inside of any circumstance that you find yourself in, whether you're high vibe, low vibe, hating life, neutral, whatever, a process you can do at any given time that will help you come back into a greater state of flow. And that is what I teach inside of Flow Tribe, is how to come back to flow in any scenario, by learning about these different energies, by learning about how you can master these areas inside of a tiny, simple process of coming back to flow, no matter where you're at, that I use every single day. And inside of Flow Tribe, every single month, we have, and let me just turn all of these little bullets on here for you. When you have the ability to know exactly what to do at any given moment inside of this simple process that I teach, it's called P3. And inside, when you're inside, you will learn exactly how to employ it. You don't have to worry about, oh my word, what am I going to do if the boss yells at me again today? What am I going to do when I have to have that tough conversation with my mother? How am I going to deal with my partner or my child in this stressful moment? Because I'm so freaked out about all of this other stuff. What am I going to do? You're going to follow the P3 process that we teach in Flow Tribe. And based on where you are, no matter what energy that you're focused on, you're going to have more confidence in what you're doing because you will always know what to fall back on to come back to greater flow. You're going to have more peace in your life because you know you already have a game plan based on who you are that you can trust in, to know that you'll always be able to pivot back to a place that's lighter, that feels more free, that is more positive, that is better than the state you're currently in. And when you're able to flow through life in that awareness, you're going to enjoy your journey more. As soon as I had this download, divine download of this simple process, I realized, holy crap, I can take what I've learned about myself and my human design and I can put it right here. So when I'm in this circumstance, I know what to do. Holy cow, when I'm working towards this dream of what I want to create in my life, that fits right into here in this part of the 3-step process. Holy cow, when I am dealing with a life circumstance with money or my home or my car breaks down, I know what to do in this process to move from here to here with everything. And it has brought such peace and assurance and believing that I can certainly handle uncertainty because I know what to employ or do at any given time. That is all that we talk about in Flow Tribe. Every single month we have 1 to 2 trainings on some sort of a growth practice, on some sort of a mindset support practice on these different energies of life, these different areas of your life, so that you can learn how to master these things and increase your awareness to move back into flow in these different areas. Every single week, I receive a channeled message from Spirit as guidance for everyone inside of Flow Tribe so that they can feel supported in whatever Spirit needs us to know. When I say Spirit, that means whatever higher power you believe in. I say Spirit. To me, it's all encompassing of God, Source, our guardian angels, highest selves, inner knowing, anything from Spirit. If you've seen my channeled messages on social media, you can watch those and get a flavor for that. We receive specific messages from Spirit every single week in Flow Tribe because I want us to be the most aware as we possibly can in order to feel more confident as we flow through all of these things in life. Every single month we have a magical event, like if there is a holiday, or like we did something for solstice last month. We've done one for the new moon one month. A couple of weeks ago, we did one for full moon. When the holidays start coming this fall and holiday season, I'm going to have we have just get-togethers where we can talk about fun things going on. We do a little ritual or a practice or just have a little get-together that I call just a monthly magical event. It's not always based on a moon cycle or a holiday, or it's just whatever is going on in the world that we can take advantage of in a lighthearted, loving way. Those are our magical events. And then every month we have just a Q&A connection call where we can get questions answered. Maybe you're going through one of the courses or trainings inside of Flow Tribe and you want a little help in an area. Great, fine, sure. That's what Q&A is for. We sit down and we share experiences we're having, what we're going through and what we're learning, because I know that something that I want to share or something that like Catherine shared a couple of weeks ago. When you hear these stories of growth, it also brings insight. It also brings support in ways that you may need as well, because we have this interconnected vibe every single month on those calls too. Okay, where are we? I don't think I put on here that every single course I have inside of the library, you guys get full access to. You don't have to pay anything extra at all. I have a few free courses coming out in there already, but anyone that's outside of Flow Tribe, if they want access to a course like the Human Design Workshop that's coming out in a couple weeks too, that they have to pay for that separately. But inside of Flow Tribe, you get access to everything. And so I would love to invite you to come join Flow Tribe. It is $37 a month. There's no commitment. There is no obligation. You're not sucked into a contract. You can go to sarahsilver.com/tribe and join right there. And we would love to have you. This has been years in the making, and I love what we've been doing. I made a connection with 2 members of Flow Tribe. I put them in a chat together and I said, hey, you've been telling me about this experience you're going through. You've been telling me about this you're going through. I think you guys should connect. And this huge, beautiful new bond was formed between these two ladies. And it's been magical. I really enjoy it. We have a private app that everything is housed in. So you don't have to be distracted or worried about Facebook shutting a group down, or we don't have to pay anything extra because it's on Patreon. There's no taxes, things like that. I built it inside of a private app so that it's more separated and there's greater focus for everyone inside so that we can intentionally master these things better together. So that is what Flow Tribe is about. I would love to see you inside. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? Complete invitation. Let me know. Let's see. Okay, Paula. Yes, super helpful. Wonderful. Paula, everyone will need different levels of focus in areas because life circumstances change so much. Yes, exactly. Exactly. But being aware of yourself enough to recognize when to crank up the focus of an area needing. Yeah, exactly. I don't feel like you have to fit a specific mold in order for some, like a program or a course or a teaching or a podcast to help you. That's one thing that led me down this path, because I'm like, nobody ever fits a perfect mold. Right? I've gone through coaching programs where I had a friend and I were going through a coaching program together with this other gal that I've known for a long time. I have a great opinion of her. I think she's fabulous, but I did not have a great time in her program at all. I followed all the steps. I did all the things, and I didn't see results or change how I desired that, like my friend did. She had an amazing time. She had huge success in what we were doing, and I was so glad for her. And I still have a wonderful opinion of the coach that we were working with. But I thought, okay, if I did all of the things and my friend did all of the things, but it worked here and not for me, I know it can't be cookie cutter, because I perhaps wasn't ready for that process, or it just wasn't a fit for me, and that's okay. So I want you to, that's why we have all of these areas of energy and thoughts, and that I help us bring awareness to, because you have to decide and figure out for you in the moment. This is inside of the P3 process. You get to decide which tactic to employ, or which process you want to focus on. You get to decide which area is affecting you the most to work on, because it's your life, it's your experience. So I want to arm you with all of these tools, not to overwhelm, but to guide you. And as you increase your divine guidance thoughts and you ask, okay, what perhaps do I need to do in this circumstance? You're going to know what the tool is because you've got a buffet of options to feel empowered enough to still move forward because you made the conscious choice to do so. Let's see, Grace. I do too. I want to be the most aware. Yes, I love it. You love the community. I love you too, Grace. It's awesome. We're not cookie cutter. Perfect, Paula. Yes, absolutely. That is what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. Let me switch just to my face here. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I hope this has been helpful for you with your sources of thought and increasing your divine guidance ability to hear. I've invited you to come into Flow Tribe. We would love to have you. There's so much more to learn. And I feel like the more we learn, the more we realize, the less we know. But it's a space for all of us to grow. And I love it. So I'm happy to have anyone inside. If anyone has any questions about that, you're welcome, Grace. I would love to see you in there. You can go to sarahsilver.com/tribe. How do I put that in the notes here? Oh, that door is always open. I don't have a timeline of like, oh, you have to join in the next 24 hours or this price doesn't work. No, I don't do that. The door is always open. That is the price. And it's not, no, there's no scarcity here. I don't believe in shutting the door and making you jump into something. Come in when it feels right for you. Come in if it feels right for you. Tune in. I'm happy to answer questions. And that is all I had for you guys tonight. Is there anything I haven't covered or can help make more clear for you while I look through comments and stuff? Paula will be joining soon. I would love to have you, Paula. I thank you so much. I saw you on YouTube over there, and nice to meet and know you. I don't even know how we came and crossed paths, but isn't that amazing? Like even Grace, I feel like I know you so well because we've been talking like every single week for a couple of months, and I don't even know how we found each other. The beautiful miracle of our day, right? You're welcome, Alicia. Thank you so much for you guys for being here. I'm going to hop off unless there's anything else anyone would like to know. Yes, we do know each other. I love it. I love it. So go write down all the stuff you're going to record and listen to, right? And come back and tell me. We met on Facebook, Paul. Okay, awesome. You're welcome. Come back and tell me how your practice is going and some of the things that you recorded that you're listening to now, right? Just do it. Just do it, do it, do it. I need to update mine. Have a good night. Yes, I will see you guys later. You can message me anytime. Bye.